Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of I'm Not Gonna Be Quiet. My name's Danica, and I'm your host. If you have been with me since the beginning, or if you're a first-time listener, I want you to know that this is a space where folks step into the circle of community to share the path that they've traveled to find liberation after periods of remaining silent about their experienced pain and harm. And so in each episode, we get a chance to hear and learn from our guest what they refuse to be quiet about, what their silence cost them, and the price they paid for their freedom. I'm here, you're here, community has been established, so let's get free. If you have listened to any of my episodes, then I am sure that you have heard me talk about my journey in parenting, and specifically how I have been able to re-parent myself, my inner child, while parenting my daughter in real life. So I'm sure it'll come as no surprise that this episode will be another lesson of the Padawan teaching the Jedi. And I say that in jest because I do believe that at every age and stage of our lives, we're always seeking information, seeking truth, seeking a deeper knowledge, all of that in pursuit of constantly evolving. So this particular day, I was sitting on the sofa with my daughter. I think I was folding laundry, and I think she was just playing with one of her games. And out of the blue, she asked me what I think of a particular part of her personality. Now, I'm being a bit ambiguous about the specific trait that she's talking about because I want to protect her confidentiality. She has not given me consent to talk about this experience, this interaction that we had to that extent. But stick with me. So we're sitting on the sofa, we're talking. She asked me about this particular trait, and I tell her that I love all the things about you. And I ask why she's asking me how I feel about her. Because, she has a healthy sense of who she is. And the moment that she's demonstrating self-doubt, then that tells me, let's dig deeper. This is an orange flag right now. It could be red. So she proceeds to tell me that one of the boys in our neighborhood, in our community, made an unsolicited comment about this particular trait. So I ask her if she thinks that he said that to be nice, jokey, funny, or if he said it to be mean. She immediately said that it was meant to be mean. And I trust her assessment because she's smart, she's astute, she has high social emotional intelligence. She's raised by me. I'm biased, what can I say? So I'm engaging and I express disappointment in that experience. And I ask her how it left her feeling, and she said she felt bad. So I acknowledged her feelings and I empathized. And then I asked her how she handled it, to which she told me she just walked away. And I was like, okay, that sounds about right. I could see you doing that. My kid is like someone who's not for the bull. So I dug a little deeper and I asked her, I said, well, are you satisfied with how you handled it? Or do you wish you could have done something differently? Again, immediately she says, I wish I would have said something to him. This made me think about the work that I do with teenagers around conflict resolution. And for me, I teach them to use their voice in a situation where they're feeling relatively safe, there are supports around them, and there's an opportunity for them to respond to someone's nastiness so that they can leave that interaction with their dignity intact. Because I don't believe that we should teach our children to always turn the other cheek. I don't. I think we do them a disservice when we're always asking them to be the bigger person. And it doesn't make them small to have a comeback. So the work that I do with the teens is I help them come up with a script that they can use for anyone, right? We're not going to go that deep. We're going to say it. We're going to throw up the deuces, and then we're going to split, right? We're going to just walk away, because anything else is just like a waste of time, a waste of labor, and it's going to escalate things. But I want the teenagers that I work with to leave feeling empowered and not feeling ashamed, embarrassed, lesson. And so while I was mulling over the work that I do with teens, I thought, this might be applicable to my little kid. Now, I'm not suggesting that this applies to everyone in every situation. For the individualized care that I provide, it is appropriate. So I'm mulling this over and I'm thinking, what would Jesus do? I don't think that, because I'm not teaching her to be in his likeness. But I did think, what would a Fannie Lou do? What would an Asada do? What would a Sojourner do? What would a Zora do? And literally, what would I do? It's in the title of my podcast. I'm not going to be quiet. So we moved on and started coming up with scripts that she could use with that boy and anyone else who says something sideways. Asked me, this boy has this very known, visible thing, deficit, if you will, about him. And she asked if she could comment on it. And I immediately said, no, honey, that's not nice. We want to protect ourselves, but we also kind of want to be nice. And then I thought, but he's not being nice to her. Because the thing is, my kid she's kindness, she's loving, she's silly, she's the person who's going to welcome the new kid into the classroom. She's the person who's going to ask for help when she needs it. She's the person who's going to offer help, right? She's the kid who, is just easy like Sunday morning, right? Because she's happy. She comes from a happy home, and so she's happy. So she's not one of those people, those kids that wakes up and is like, I choose violence. Nah, she chooses light. So I thought, I'm telling her to be nice, but this kid is a known bully. And if the spaces that he exists in aren't supporting him to be better, I can't put the burden of his dysfunction, his dysregulation on my daughter. She is not a receptor for that. So I just started to give some more thought to this bully dynamic. And let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about the bullies and then those who get bullied. We know as adults, in the end, bullies never win, right? Sure, they may have some success and an appearance of having it together, but as adults, we know those people. And we know that those demons that were grown from childhood were never exercised. And they are eating them alive today, right? These are those Facebook people who put, I'm on this trip and I'm in this country. And we know they're miserable. right? These are the people who post like pictures of them smiling and doing this activity and this activity for years. And then all of a sudden it goes dark. Their page just goes dark. And they've resurfaced 2 years later and they're wilding out. These people were unwell from the gate because whatever was happening with their family dynamic was poured into them. And the way they showed up was being aggressive, being unkind, being rude, being nasty. So I don't want my daughter exposed to them, but I can't control it. And if you're the one who constantly gets bullied, that's like a slow death by 1,000 cuts. The harm that is done to your self-esteem is really significant and requires intense and ongoing treatment. The other side of that is if you infrequently come in contact with this bully, you're more likely to not sustain long-term damage. But there are those cases, right? We all have these stories. It only took one incident to reshape how you feel about yourself. One interaction with this bully where whatever they said and did, it landed. It was like a seed pushed into the soil and it grew. It grew shadows of doubt and distorted thinking. So in that moment, I corrected myself and I told my daughter, yes, you can comment about that kid's thing, that deficit. Here's what you do. You say it, and then you say, I'm so uninterested in what you have to say about me. And you throw up the deuces and you walk away. That's it. From there, if you need help, you get me. You get your coach, you get a teacher, you get another adult that's in our village, and you ask for help. Right? But no, in that moment, you stood up for yourself because you're smart, you're strong, you're brave, and you're kind. And anyone who has a problem, you tell them to call your mother. That's what you do. You tell them to call your mother and you be done with it. You go play with your friends. You go finish your math. You go take your laps. You do whatever. So this was a moment. This was a huge reparenting moment for me because this is what I now know I'm not doing. I'm not teaching my daughter to be nice. I'm not. I'm teaching her to be free, to be brave, to be fierce, to be smart, to be curious, to be loud, to be firm, to be boundary setting, to be a critical thinker, to be uniquely herself, to take up all the space. Because that is her birthright. That's her birthright. So let's dig into this whole nice thing. Because I got some feelings about it, right? I have some feelings about how girls, specifically Black girls, are conditioned to be nice. And boys, go be brave. Go be free. Go do whatever you want. Nah, we're not doing that. So I think it makes sense to break down, to decode what nice actually means. When you are telling a girl, a Black girl, to be nice, you're actually telling them to be quiet, because that's what it means. Culturally, that's what being nice means. It means to be quiet, to be submissive, to be compliant, to be docile, to be agreeable all the time, to be invisible. Essentially, telling a Black girl to be nice is you telling her to be nothing. And I know some folks are going to be like, I am nice. I think I'm a nice person. I love being nice. People tell me that I'm nice all the time. Are you? Are you really nice? Okay, but why? Why? Why are you nice? because there's a difference between being nice and being kind. Good friend Webster defines nice as being cheerful and agreeable. The thesaurus writes that nice typically means a person is pleasant to be around and has good manners. That is so subjective. I have been in so many spaces where a white person will walk past me and not speak, as if they've never met me, as if we don't work together, right? As if, as if our kids aren't at the playground all the time together. In my head, horrible manners. Who raised you? Who raised you, ma'am? So, Webster, thesaurus, that definition of nice goes out the window. Now, kind is something different. I can get with kind, right? It's not to be used all the time. Everybody doesn't deserve it. Kind is defined as considerate, helpful, and the thesaurus defines it as someone who supports people in need. I can get with that. So I'd much rather teach my daughter to be kind as she sees fit, on and with those that deserve it. I'm going to teach her to be kind and not nice. Because the thing is, there's too much risk in teaching girls to be nice, right? Let's get into this. Because truly, we're not actually teaching our girls to be nice. Rather, we're actually grooming them, right? We are participating in the grooming of our girls. We are grooming them to be voiceless victims. When you tell a girl to say, yes, ma'am, and no, sir, you're grooming her to know that there is a power difference between her and other adults, essentially other human beings, and there is no difference. Again, I am a conscious parent. I practice gentle parenting, and the moment that my kid arrived, she was equal. She deserved all things. This is not a situation where your rights to having a voice shows up when you graduate high school, when you hit this arbitrary age of 18 or 21 or 30 or 35. No. You have thoughts, you have feelings, you deserve to be heard, you deserve to be seen, and that is how I am raising her. So she will not be a nice girl. Because the truth is, when you teach a girl to be nice by being quiet, you're telling her, you're grooming her to say nothing about her pain. You're grooming her to take endless beatings. When you teach a girl that being nice is going along with what is asked of her, you are grooming her to enter in and remain in relationships where there is interpartner violence. When you teach a girl to be nice by not correcting misinformation, you are grooming her to doubt and detach from her inner voice, her intuition. You are setting her up for violence. And when you teach a girl, this is the last thing, right? Because this is wild. When my daughter was just a baby, when she was just a baby, we would be out at the park, in the stores, in the markets, whatever. And like a lot of adults do, when they see babies, they're just like, they're so cute. She's so pudgy. She has all these rolls. She was not for it. The adults would be like, hi, can you say hi? She could say hi. She didn't want to. And I didn't make her. Immediately, when she signaled to me that she was not feeling that person, I dipped. Right? I dipped. Because a boundary was being crossed. And I've been guilty of this, right? I see a baby with all the rolls. I'm just like, oh my goodness. But then I have to check myself, right? I have to check myself. Because that person, I don't have access to that person. I don't even need to position myself to ask for access to that person. And a smile signals to people that come through. It's all good, but it's not. So when my kid was a baby and she was like frowning, we dipped. And the truth is, if my mother would have taught me to be kind instead of nice, I would have suffered less fools. I would have had fewer touch points of trauma if I was taught to be kind instead of nice. I remember I was living in South Korea for a couple of years, and this was like a decade ago. And so a lot of South Koreans wore masks all the time, right? Because of smog, environmental irritants, or if they had a cold, they didn't want to transfer that to anyone. And so that was really normal. I never did it, but it was normal. And I remember being on the bus and everybody was kind of moved towards the back of the bus. And there was this man sitting up front, and I sat down. I wasn't really thinking anything. And I'm just like, okay. What I didn't realize was that this guy didn't have a mask on. And as the trip progressed, he's coughing and he's sneezing and he's not doing a good job of like covering his mouth. And I'm feeling ick, right? Like, ugh. And the funny thing about a lot of the folks, right? Especially like the ajumas, like the older folks on the bus, they will give you a look of disdain if you cough near them. They will literally get up and move. I've seen that. I saw that happen several times, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's so not nice. You're making this person feel bad for coughing. That's normal. It's natural. Yo, I'm late to the game because while I'm riding the bus and this guy's hacking away and not doing a good job of covering his mouth, there were plenty of seats for me to move to. But I didn't, because I had this internal dialogue, and one part of me was like, yo, get up and move, kid. He's going to do all his germs. You're going to be sick. Get out of here. Go get another seat. Everybody else has. But then the American in me was like, oh, that's so not nice. He's going to know if you get up and leave, he's going to know it's about him, that you want to be away from him. Well, girl, you do. You do want to get away. And so I just sat there. I didn't get sick the next day or days after, but that was a lesson for me. I was like, you were willing to put yourself at risk of being sick to be nice to someone else. He wasn't being nice. He didn't have a mask on. He wasn't doing a good job of covering his nasty germs. But you, nice girl who was groomed to be a nice woman, you sat there and you took it. You silenced yourself and put yourself at risk of getting sick because you wanted to be nice, all in the name of being perceived as a nice girl, a nice woman. So, yeah, I wish my mother would have taught me to be kind. I wish she would have. And I know this sounds hyperbolic to a lot of y'all, because a lot of y'all are like, but I'm nice, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's look at the stats. Let's look at the stats. 40% of confirmed sex trafficking survivors in the U.S. are Black girls. 40 to 60% of Black women report being subjected to coercive sexual contact by age 18. 1 in 4 Black girls will be sexually abused before the age of 18. And these are the reported cases. 2018, Black children under 13 died by suicide at nearly twice the rate of white children the same age. These stats are dire. If we don't disrupt the grooming of our girls, we are woefully putting them in harm's way and at a greater risk of being one of the stats that I just listed. The thing is, we have to divest from grooming our girls to be nice, because they eventually do turn into nice women. And we know one, right? We are one. They're in our church. They're in our family. They're in our business. They're in our community. They're in our neighborhood. They're everywhere. We've been harmed by a nice woman. And so after thinking about myself and my circle of folks, I thought about all the types of nice women that I've seen or been. And I came up with 5 types of nice women that were once nice girls. First, there is the dump. That used to be me, right? I was the person who would be like walking my dog and someone stops and asks to pet them. Permission is given. And within that 60-second exchange, I find out that she just had throat surgery. Her partner's struggling with addiction. She is thinking about moving across country. Why do I need to know that? I don't. The dump is someone who takes in everybody else's trauma, right? People don't ask, do you have space? Do you have time? No, people just unburden themselves on you. And then they're like, I feel so much better. Ugh, that's so ugly. Next nice woman, the mule. This is the person who works 60 hours a week but gets paid for 40. Cleans the church on the weekend, hands out flyers on the weekend, does taxes in the evening for folks who, can't afford a CPA. She sees at least 3 people a week who are on the sick and shut-in list. And she also takes care of her family to some degree. That's the mule, constantly working and giving to others while not giving to herself. Know that person. Next, nice woman who was once a nice girl is the avoider. This person I know intimately, not me, but I know her. This person is conflict avoidant. She will sit in meetings and hear people make racist and homophobic jokes and say nothing. She just eats it. She will be in relationship with her family who have said and done horrible things to her and will take it and not do anything about it, not correct it. She sees all things but says nothing in order to avoid disrupting the air quotes harmony of things. Ain't no harmony going on. No, ma'am. So the avoider, inside, she's suffering in silence. But somebody's going to get that. It won't be the person that she has conflict with, but it'll likely be her partner, her children, whomever is closest to her. That's going to come out at some point. That's the avoider. And then there's the caretaker. We've all been the caretaker, right? This is the person who goes above and beyond, and let's not get it twisted. Above and beyond is not a good thing. We've been conditioned to be like, oh, this person goes above and beyond at work, and this person goes above and beyond for the church and the synagogue. Above and beyond is a trap. The caretaker knows no boundaries. And the people that request things of her know that, and they take advantage of her. The caretaker is a person that has a pretty full life, has their own family, has their own job, but will pick up her boss's laundry, will go to her boss's house and babysit her daughter. The caretaker will get sick and still show up for work, will get sick and still take care of other sick people. Again, like all of them, left empty, vacant inside. Burnt out. Compassion fatigue to the max. And the last, nice woman who was once a nice girl is the honeybee. Y'all know the honeybee. This is the person who smiles all the time. This is the person who changes the registry of their voice to sound childlike, right? Like, I know this lady, it was wild. When we would talk, there were times where I would hear her talk from this registry, right? She had a lower toned voice. But when she was in social settings, she all of a sudden became like this. And she'd be like, oh, that's okay. I can do it. Oh, it's not a problem. Hi, everyone. I hope everybody has a good weekend. Ma'am, are you having a good weekend? Are you having a good weekend? Because this fake smile and tone, it's erasing who you are. It's silencing of your own voice. And the thing about these 5 nice women who were once nice girls, who were groomed to be nice girls so that they could be nice women, it's rooted in patriarchy, capitalism, anti-Blackness. It's rooted in all the things, right? Because what this institution wants to do is control people, specifically women, specifically Black women, Black girls. And so it is so critical, it is urgent that we tap into that awareness and we protect our children by pouring into them all of who they are. Right? All of what they were born with, which is confidence, love, joy, curiosity, boundary setting, critical thinking. If we pour all of those things into them and we support them in being kind and not nice, they don't turn into nice women. And so the question is, who do they turn into? Difficult women, specifically Black women, right? Black girls who divest from that caretaking system of being nice, they turn into difficult women. And I'm going to invite you to embrace that. The truth is you can't outrun it. And difficult women are assertive. Difficult women are smart. Difficult women are ambitious. Difficult women are excellent at saying no and setting boundaries. Difficult women have high emotional intelligence. Difficult women know how to communicate. Difficult women know how to get their needs met. Difficult women will not allow you to enter their space with chaos. Difficult women lead. They create their own path. They live long lives full of joy and security. And so I invite every Black woman out there to embrace the label of being a difficult woman. I assure you, it's way better than being a nice woman. I've seen nice women with eating disorders. I've seen nice women suffering from untreated depression, anxiety, PTSD. You don't have to be that. And I'm not raising my daughter to be that at all. I'm in village with folks who are not raising their children to be nice. And so, nope. And so this moment of my daughter seeking support from me helped me support myself and her in a much better way. Because please. I will never teach my daughter to be nice. Never. She will continue to be the light that she is. And I love her for that. The world is better for that very thing. Thanks again, everyone, for taking this ride with me. I know you might disagree with me. Some of the things I said may sound inflammatory. Let's talk about it. I can't imagine I'm going to change my mind, but I do want to be in conversation with you. I appreciate you checking in every week and listening to this podcast. I wish you well, and I'll see you next week. Peace, everyone.
Thank you.